Oh, it's the 31st of March 2019 at 5 p.m. I'm going with the theme of Lonely Island for a bit. It was inspired by a video I watched a couple of days ago about I don't know how, one of those things you stumbled on. It was about a hermit, and he was living on an island, and he lived there for 27 years. Just him on the island. Lots of visitors came to the island, and I guess people were there if he needed it, but it was just him on the island. I think he was fit and healthy and happy enough, so he said. But every day he just sat there and just stared at the island and the sea, and that's how wonderful it was. It reminded me of all the mgtow guys. I thought, you'd really be happy on Lonely Island. So I thought, why don't I actually make that my setting, Lonely Island? I can come on and say things like, I sit here and just watch the beach all day. It's really beautiful. It's really good. But the truth of the matter is, I'd hate to do that, and I'd be shit at it, as I like people. So the idea of being by myself, I don't know. Look, it seems to appeal to some people. To me, it seems a bit pointless. Not a bit. It seems very pointless. But which sort of brings me to the theme of what I wanted to talk about in this video. Was that another video I watched a couple of days back. It reminded me of my own experience. It was just a guy who's an entrepreneur, and I've forgotten his name. He's fabulously wealthy now. He developed some sort of hair product. You'd know his name if you heard it, but I can't remember. It was some sort of shampoo and a line of hair products. And he had a dreadful journey getting there. I mean, it happened fairly early in life, but he was homeless twice. And it was one of those classic entrepreneurs stories of getting smacked down and that sort of thing, which is what seems to happen to us with great regularity. But during this interview, he was making the point. He said, look, there are two ways of handling it when life smacks you about. He said most people will get up and point the finger at everybody else as their fault, and they'll spend if not the next 4 or 5 years complaining about what this person's done wrong to them, that person's done wrong to them. They'll probably spend the rest of their life doing it. And he said, the other way is to do what I did. What he said, what I did. I just got up and kept going. Now, I fall into the latter category myself. When I separated from my family, it was hard. It was cruel, and it still is. You go from this sort of image of being a family man and what have you, to out in the cold, and they don't have any contact with you, and that is extremely hard to handle. And looking back on it, I wouldn't say to anybody it's easy or that you follow my, because I could easily have thought stuff is, and if I'd had money, I would have said, no, I'd just drink myself to death. And I would have sat here and whinged and bitched about how bad women are and the whole thing, and how bad, how rotten, have another drink. I'm glad I didn't take that route. But I will say this, at the time, I would not have thought it even possible I could be happy again. I had no idea how I was going to move forward. I think at that stage I was in my late 50s, so I was even at the point of thinking, why even bother? Why not just start guzzling the alcohol and be done with it? But for whatever reason, maybe it's in me, or I don't know, but I didn't go that way. I took a different path. Look, I'm not saying it's a path for everybody, but I took a different path. And a big part of that path, through this last 5 years, is questioning my motive of why bother getting up in the morning, why keep going. And it's when you're in that situation, it gets that way, that you question it and you question it hard, because it's hurting. Each day you get up, it's painful. Wake up in the morning, you're angry, and you've got to face the day with, no money, no resources, no job, no family, no backup, no nothing. Each day you've just got to get up and think, right, what have I got to do today? And I don't know, maybe that's what faith means, because that's what you're running on, blind faith at the time, that things will get better, that things will eventually improve. And anybody in that situation, I wouldn't look at it lightly and say, I should be right at the end. Because it might not. You might lose your battle. There is no guarantee. You will win. You could lose your battle. My heart goes out to you, but it's a struggle, it's hard. And for those who are in that situation, I don't know what I could say to you. I just kept going. I don't know how, I don't know why, and I still don't know why. Well, I was thinking tonight as I came on, and I know how you guys feel about women and what have you. But I had a couple of messages from my Pinay, Filipino friends. And I looked at them, I answered them each, and look, you can think whatever you like, and you could be right. They could be just using you and just giving the money and that sort of thing. Underneath it all, it's probably more for me. I get something out of being helpful, I guess. I never ever ask them for sex. I send them money. I do ask them, can you try and help me with this idea of having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or a meal online? I do ask them for that, but I never ask them for sex or anything else. And slowly over the years, it's starting slowly to come around. As I say to them, look, I really think it could be a great service out there for people who were in exactly the same situation I was in. Who've just been thrown out in the cold, nowhere else to go. They don't have a family to come home to, they just have nothing. And I thought, these women do it tough as well, so maybe just the act of just a cup of coffee, for $2 or something, maybe put it on a tab or something like that, and just say, I'll pay at the end of the week, or whenever we get up to 1,000 pesos or whatever, rather than just 100 pesos at a time. And I just thought, if people were to reach out to one another, and I know they're women, the rotten bitches, but maybe for those of you who are doing it tough and who are angry and what have you, maybe if you could just reach out the same as I've done, it does give you a sense of I don't know how to. You do end up feeling better about yourself, and I think that's important in the healing process if you've gone through a bad time, because I guess it's fair to say that your self-esteem has been knocked around a fair bit. Mine was, and the act of not. I could easily get drunk and go into an online chat room and have a huge argument with every woman I met. I don't think that would help me at a personal level. It might make sense in my drunkenness, but at a personal level, I don't think it would help me. Whereas the way I'm doing it, I feel, look, I could be wrong because I don't know. This is the whole process. You go from this state to that state. And as you get older, that state is vaguer. It's not like when you're a kid, you work hard, you do this, you do that, you achieve this, and tick, you're a good boy. No, it's not like that. No, it's moving from one state to another. And often you don't even know what state, particularly when you're in a mgtow and you're angry and you don't like women and that sort of thing, you can't imagine ever being on the good side again. And personally, I feel that way toward Western women. That's still a line in the sand for me. No, as far as I'm concerned, they turned on us and betrayed us and what have you. So I'm sort of halfway. I'm thinking now. I don't want to be a bitter, twisted old man, lonely, sitting on lonely beach. You know, trying to con the world that I'm at peace and life's wonderful, because I just wouldn't want to be that way. No, I want a full life, as full as I can make it, although it's difficult at times. But I do. I look at guys like this entrepreneur. He's worth billions, but I'm not worried about being worth billions. I'm thinking getting from one state to another and passing through the process. It's not an easy thing. It's difficult. It's challenging. But then the worst and the hardest thing about it is you sit there and when it's happening, you think, why bother? Because there's nothing there to say, if you do this, you'll have a house, car and dog and, 3 happy children and you'll live happily ever after, because there's none of that. You're too old, or you think, it's just me, by myself. What is the future? I don't have a future. That's what you're faced with every day. There is no future. It's unlikely there will ever be a future. That's what you get to thinking. Very easy to do. And I find, talking to the likes of AB and whatever, AB lives in a hovel. It's just, it's falling down. It's a hovel. And she still gets up every day and goes for it. And you can say what you like about her. She's a funny woman, but and she wants money. But she lives in a hovel, and every day she gets up and keeps going. So in a sense, I look at her and I think, well, she's worse off than me. Why can't I get up and keep going? She's got nothing to look forward to. She's not having children. She's not doing anything. She's not the only one. There's heaps there in the same situation. But I look at them and it sort of inspires me a little bit to keep going. And it's... all due respects, but I talk to Western guys and it's sort of like, just, keep going, blah, blah, blah. There doesn't seem to be any linking with reality that, I see what you mean, you've got nothing to look forward to, you've got no family, you've got, there's no point anymore. So, I can see, nobody seems to say that. Everybody seems to be caught up in this ideology of how you should live. It doesn't seem to be linking to others. I look at the guys on here and think, especially younger guys, and I think, look, it doesn't matter what. You should be, children, having your own children. There is no greater joy. Sorry, there just is no greater joy. And I think it would be it would be easier if you didn't do it. But, and that it's like heroin, if you've never had it, you don't know what you're missing out on, so you don't miss it. But children are, I don't know, even despite everything that's happened, I would still have them again. That's the truth of it. It's largely because of them, mostly because of them, that's what happened. But I'd still go through it again. But this is the whole point. This is the thing. What this guy was saying is, you don't point the finger at anybody else. You just get up and keep going, doing your own thing. Don't waste your time, telling. This is what he was saying. No, he didn't actually say that. He just said this is what people do. You got the two types. People just get up and get going again. The other ones that point the finger and she did this to me, the rotten bitch, and they're rotten. And I can tell you the latter. The finger pointing makes a lot more sense. I could have been doing it years ago. I didn't. I chose not to, because as far as I was concerned, a lot of the choices I'd made, personal choices, would have led to the dissolution of our relationship. So, but I wasn't about to, and I still wouldn't say, it was all her fault, or I'm such an innocent, sweet innocent, because I'm not. Shit happens, but it's not that I was playing around or anything, but it's. I just look back at it and I think, no, I can't say anything really. I'm not going to put women down generally, or my wife down at all, or any of my pinay friends. I just don't do it. Okay, I'm mgtow. I'm focused on myself, and if I can help others along, even if I can just be here and others look at me and think, well, yeah, he's getting through it somehow and he's got no reason to keep going, maybe I can too. Maybe that's it. That's really, at the end of the day, that's about what I can do. I'm not here to hate on women or, lecture you on why you should have nothing to do with them. In fact, I think you should, find, you should be one with females as well as males. I don't think the Western situation is healthy or safe. That's my personal view. That's why no, something's going wrong out there. I don't want to know. I feel a lot safer online. And I can be more the type of person I am. So I've managed to do that. It's all in my head. But I mean, I don't know how many guys will say to me, oh, so you're going to the Philippines. No, I might be going in for a cup of coffee in a moment. I'm here on a computer talking to people there. That's what it is. Same way as I'm talking to you guys. I might end up going there, but I certainly can't afford it at the moment. I'm in no position to do it at the moment. And no, I'm not going there to get married or, and I don't visit, sites, for romances. No, I just know some Pinay online, and we talk and what have you. And, I help out. That's what you do with them. That's what their whole culture is, That's their culture. You help out. If you don't help out, you're out. And that's just how their culture works. It's different to our culture. It's different in many ways. Well, that's for another video. But and I could fully understand you all saying, oh, God, that sounds wrong. And so, yep, couldn't agree with you more. But then maybe you're not in my position. Maybe you're not made up the same ways. But the whole thing is when you go from having a family and somebody relying on you and wanting you and that sort of thing, and then suddenly you don't have that anymore, it's making a big hole in your life. Suddenly there's something missing. For someone who's been in that situation, if you've only ever been you and it's you, then you won't miss it. It's like heroin. If you don't have it, you won't miss it. So if you've never been in a position where people have wanted you and needed you, then you won't understand what I'm talking about. But this is what I get from the Pinay. It's at the end of the day, they do need you, they do want you. It's like children, in a sense, okay? I suppose it's the hole they feel in me is that they're like children. Yeah, and I know I've had all the mgtow, commentary that, that's wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong. I've noticed typically from people who haven't had children. It's a bit like a hump. You're on one side of the hump, and I can fully understand. I remember what it was like before I had children. I couldn't agree with you more there. But the problem is, once you step over that hump, and you've had those children, and you've had those people relying on you and wanting you, it offers something that you wouldn't understand before you do it. So I hope that sort of, I don't expect you to understand, but if you can sort of get on the wavelength that, it's different. It's this going from one thing to another. That's what you do. Is when you have children, you go from being one sort of person to another sort of person. You change. You go, I can't tell you exactly what it is, and there's no, precise definition. You change though. You go from being this sort of person to that sort of person. You're a person like this one moment, and suddenly you're a person that's different. But, a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, you go from this to this. Yeah, so that's and I suppose that's really what happens through life, isn't it? We move from this to this. And I guess, you can spend your life pointing a finger at everybody else. Oh, it's like, I parallel it to driving. And there are people that do it. They'll drive down the street and they'll be shouting in their car, oh, what are you, I don't. I just look after my car. I couldn't get, if somebody else makes a mistake or they do something foolish or something, I'm just happy if I was quick enough to react to it, or driving carefully enough that I didn't have a problem. That's it. I look after my car. I have to trust them to look after their car. Yeah, but it's different, different for different people. But that's the thing that I found after watching that video from the entrepreneur. Yeah, he's like that. He drives his car. Yep. If somebody screams out at out of the side street or something and slams into him, yeah, he's reacting to that. He's not there, pointing the finger, screaming at him. No, he's trying to avoid the accident or do whatever. And that's the two different types of people. Yeah, I've as I said, I've fallen to the latter. But we're rare apparently. Anyway, it's been good talking to you. I hope you like the Lonely Island scenario. It's just so nice to come here and just watch the waves roll in and the sand on the beach. 27 years, my God, how would you do it? Anyway, good talking to you, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.